Sir Garrett Rolfe now behind bars. He's expected to appear in court for the first time today. And they're a small company with a big message. We're highlighting a local organization that's dedicated to keeping the Black community safe, healthy, and informed. We have those stories and more today, Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth.
Live from Atlanta, Morning Rush starts now.
June 19th, better known as Juneteenth or Freedom Day. It commemorates the end of slavery in the United States. In just a few minutes, we're going to explain a little more behind the meaning, but we want to know, what do you think? What does Juneteenth mean to you? Use the hashtag MorningRushATL and let us know.
Thanks so much, Chesley. But first, we want to say good morning and happy Friday to you. Happy Juneteenth to you as well. I'm Francesca Amaker. Sheba Russell is off today. Meteorologist Chesley McNeil will join us in a few moments. But first, let's begin with Crash Clark, and we have a red alert right now.
Yeah, Francesca, we've got that red alert, but some good news. Gwinnett PD just moved this thing off to the right.
Francesca.
Chesley, thank you. Breaking overnight, crews removed a Confederate monument from the Decatur Square overnight to be put in storage. Nick Sturdivant is live in Decatur now with more on what led to that decision.
Good morning, Francesca. In the last hour, crews taped off where that monument was.
Nick, thank you. And we are following more breaking news this morning. Demonstrators gathered outside the governor's mansion last night and into the morning, protesting against police brutality and racial injustice. Georgia State Patrol and Atlanta police officers were outside, blocking off the street where roughly 75 to 100 people were. Now, the crowd leaving just after 2 a.m., some continuing to protest outside the Wendy's on University Avenue, where Rayshard Brooks was shot by police just 1 week ago. And right now, former Atlanta police officer is behind bars in the Gwinnett County Jail. Garrett Rolfe is accused of firing that fatal shot that killed Rayshard Brooks. He's expected to have his first court appearance today. And Mara Sirianni is live outside the Fulton County Jail, where Rolfe was originally being held. Mara.
That's true, and Rolfe was moved to Lawrenceville roughly 2 hours after turning himself in here at the Fulton County Jail yesterday.
The second officer facing charges in the case, Devon Brosnan, is out on bail this morning. Brosnan says through his attorney, Don Samuel, that at first he did not realize Rayshard Brooks had even been shot. The district attorney also accused Brosnan of stepping on Brooks and holding Brooks down with his foot. Here's what Brosnan is saying through his attorney about that accusation.
He knows that Mr. Brooks has his taser, so he's worried about that. So he puts his foot down on his arm just to make sure he can't grab a weapon. It's like 6 seconds. Then he realizes he's been shot, he doesn't have a weapon, and he takes his foot off his arm. And the DA says that's an aggravated assault.
Now, Brosnan is facing charges of aggravated assault and 3 counts of violation of oath. He faces 1 to 20 years in prison. And reports of police walkouts in Atlanta blew up on social media. Interim Atlanta Police Chief Rodney Bryant tells the Associated Press officers started to call out Wednesday night and continue to do so Thursday. Bryant did not say, however, how many officers called out in protest over the arrests of Garrett Rolfe and Devon Brosnan. He says some officers are angry and others may even feel abandoned. APD says other Metro Atlanta police departments are ready to step in to help if needed. Now to some other top stories we're following on this Friday morning.
I'm Elwin Lopez. Nearly 800,000 young undocumented immigrants are allowed to live and work in the United States under the DACA program.
The state of Mississippi is being hit with a demand from the Southeastern Conference. The College Athletic Conference says Mississippi must change its state flag or it cannot host SEC championships. The flag prominently features the Confederate symbol. And one of UGA's biggest rivals is making a big change as it addresses racism and inequality. The University of Florida is getting rid of the school's gator bait cheer. The university's president says that there is no evidence of racism associated with the gator bait cheer at sporting events, but there is a horrific, historic racist imagery associated with the phrase. Here it is: African American babies being used as alligator bait in the late 1800s and early 20th century. 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks, and this story is getting a lot of reaction online, so let's see what you're saying. Nancy writes, "It was the past. Dear God, move on and heal." That's Nancy Lundell. And Damone says, "As a double Gator, I say kudos to my alma mater. Go Gators." And James says, "I am originally from the South and I have never heard of it." So what are your thoughts? I know I put this on my Instagram and my Facebook with some graphic images so people could see. We want to hear from you. Join that conversation by using the hashtag #MorningRushATL. Chesley.
All right, thanks a lot, Francesca. 6:09 is the current time, folks. Let's take a look.
In a matter of no time. Southbounders, got a few of you coming at you. I'll check that big three in my next report.
Today is June 19th, also known as Juneteenth Day. It's a day many consider our country's second Independence Day. Here's a little insight into why.
Open a U.S. history book and chance second Independence Day.
So the question this morning, what does Juneteenth mean to you? Let us know by using the hashtag #MorningRushATL. And Chesley, I'll start us off for myself. Juneteenth, not only is it filled with lots of sadness knowing what happened to African Americans that were enslaved in this country, but it's a ton of pride for me as well, knowing that we now have freedom to an extent, and we also have a ton of resilience from ancestors that went through that here in America.
Had not been for them, we wouldn't be here. So of course we celebrate. We celebrate the freedom of slavery, and every city I've ever been in. You know, I'm from Philadelphia. I've been in all throughout the Mid-Atlantic states. Every year there's a celebration. You know, and so I look forward to it. Look forward to it and celebrating and having a good time. But this year, of course, will be a little bit different because of COVID-19. So we have to practice safety, of course. Yeah.
All right, ahead
on Morning Rush, the NFL making plans for the 2020 season. A top doctor is recommending some ideas for playing safety.
Plus, the names on college buildings are now under review, the process the University System of Georgia is using.
And during this unprecedented time, a local organization is helping keep the community in.
Crash, thank you. 6:19 is your time. In other news, Google has announced new hiring goals and security policy to address racial issues at the company. This comes as protests over police brutality against African Americans have carried over into discussions about corporate culture. Google's CEO says by 2025, the company aims to have 30% more of its leaders be from underrepresented groups. Right now, about 96% of Google's U.S. executives and managers are white or Asian, and 73% globally are men. And don't forget, Father's Day is this Sunday, and the National Retail Federation is forecasting an uptick in spending on Dad this year. The organization anticipates $17 billion will be spent on the holiday this year, which is bound to look a little different thanks to coronavirus. A survey of more than 8,000 Americans found approximately $2.8 billion will be spent on special outings with Dad. Billions are expected to be spent on clothing and gift cards as well. Now to the coronavirus outbreak right here in Georgia. This morning, we are taking a closer look at COVID-19 in Athens, Clarke County. This is a look at new cases over the course of the past month. You see it right here. The line in orange shows the total number of people with the virus. And that teal line at the bottom of your screen right here, it highlights the number of new cases every single day. From mid-May through Thursday, Athens, Clarke County averages about 5 new reports of COVID. That's every single day. Now, COVID-19 cases continue to rise all across Georgia. The state announced 911 new reports of the new virus yesterday. For 5 of the last 7 days, the number of new cases actually has been above average. That's shown by the dotted line on your screen right there. And of course, we've been trending upwards since the first week of June. So the pandemic's still here, folks. Now, there is a growing push to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. We'll take a closer look at the day commemorating the end of slavery. All right, folks, 6:46 is your time. Time now for In Other News. Back to school for Georgia Gwinnett College. Students will be on campus this fall, and of course with social distancing guidelines. Yeah, GGC says it will work with the health department to ensure students are safe. And Georgia's unemployment rate dropped in May as the state started to ease coronavirus restrictions and more businesses reopen. The unemployment rate is sitting at 9.7%. That's an almost 3% drop from April. Now, over the course of about 3 months, the state has paid out more than $6 billion in unemployment claims. And if you're looking for a job, then McDonald's might be looking for you. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. The fast food giant is hiring 26,000 workers as it reopens its dining rooms and gets back to full menu. Now, as of Monday, about 1,000 of McDonald's 14,000 U.S. locations allow customers to sit at a table.